Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. We are looking at Tesla once again. This is one of the most commonly found stocks on the Daily Active show, and the reason why is because it has the most volume. Now, when we look at what we see here today, Tesla closed at $242. It was down 3%. It is now down over the 5-day, 15-day, and 1 month. Now, one of the things, if you're watching my previous videos, when we get this flip to bullish or bearish on the 1 month signal, that is a great indication to me to pay attention. We got a flip where we got two 1 month rolling signals in a row on the 2nd of August, which it was at $254. Wish I would have taken that signal. I did buy that day, ended up getting out yesterday. But when we look at what is going on in Tesla, it's not really great. The one thing that I do see now is that volatility is starting to rise. You see that this big spike here, it looks like on the 4th of August, that was the low in volatility. It's essentially been breaking out ever since. Now, we don't necessarily see that this is flipped here for volatility falling or rising yet, but it will start to. We'll be curious about the correlation of prices. So right now we're looking at, we've got Tesla's prices at 242, the 5-day average is at 251, the 20-day average is at 266. We want to be really cautious about what's going on in Tesla right now because this is a bellwether of the stock market. Now, when we're looking at the signals, we can see in the short term, intermediate term, and longer term, we've got go shorts. On the trend indicator, on the short term, intermediate, and longer term, we've got bearish, which is terrifying. And actually, if you saw my tweet from earlier today, this was the first day in a long time that Tesla completely went fully bearish on the longer term. The last time that we see this, so I always like to see when it does two in a row. So you see how it was bullish here, but there was bearish. We ignore that one bearish because we need confirmation. We ignore that one bearish because we need confirmation. The last time we saw a flip was back here when we got two bullish in a row. That was, again, if you watch my previous videos, you'll know that was on May 22nd and May 23rd. That was at $188, $185. Those are great days to buy. So if those are great days to buy, does that mean that today is a great day to sell Tesla? And the reason I say that is because of this signal right here. Want to be cautious, want to be aware, want to just be paying attention to what the market is going to give us and react accordingly. Now, when we look at the rolling sentiment, one of the things, if we're looking here, this is a 10-day bullishness and a 23-day bullishness. This is really based on the type of price action we're seeing in the market. On the 10-day, we are down at 35%. Now, that's incredibly low. This generally will not go lower than the low 30s, but this is Tesla. Tesla does crazy stuff. Now, I actually like the way that this indicator looks right now, where we are down at 47% bullishness on the 2-day average. The reason why I like it is because you can really only rally from here. It's the same thing we saw in May. It's the same thing we saw in the beginning of January. Remember when Tesla was down at $100? It was down at 34% bullishness at the beginning of May or the beginning of January, and then it really rallied until the middle of February. It got to 62%, and it was up over 100% during that time. So I'll be very patiently waiting to see what Tesla does with these next few days, weeks, and potentially month or so, depending on what this price action tells me. So this is the chart up close. We can see we've essentially hit that high back in the middle of July. The high, it looks like, was 299, so 300 really scared the market. We can see, we look at the daily sentiment indicator here as well. We have come all the way down on the daily, down to 44%. But again, it does need to breach that 15-day moving average line of the bullishness. We'd love to see that. That'd be very reminiscent of a bullish move in Tesla. We can see on the volume, the volume is below the 15-day moving average. It's essentially flatline, but it's not breaking out. So it is nice to see that you're not getting a big extension in volatility or volume while you're seeing the price breakout, because that means that the supply is still being restricted, which means it's probably just a few sellers, not necessarily the whole market is changing on Tesla. Now, we look at the volatility. What we can see is essentially we do have a breakout in volatility, just like we talked about on the raw data. You can see that the price correlation is actually positive, which is quite surprising. Now, what that tells me is that if the volatility is breaking out, the correlation is also breaking out, and the price is not following along. It's telling me that the market wants to do what the market wants to do, regardless of the overall derivatives related to the price movement. Think about the difference between acceleration and speed. Now, we are pretty much at the very bottom of the range, which right now is $235. That is about $7 less than where we are. The top of the range is $299, which I'd love to see. This is probably a good spot to take a position in Tesla. I don't know. I've taken positions early this week. Things have not worked out. I've had to flip and just switch positions. But we will be patient because the data will set us free, boys and girls. Now, here's the ultra-fast sentiment more up close. It's just a larger version of exactly what we looked at before. It's at 47%. We'd like to see a break back above 50% and get above that 15-day moving average, because this may be the beginning of a great long run. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We send you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday just for free. I'll talk to you soon.